Okay, so task 2 is called essay writing. I'm going to do a very quick recap based on what we did yesterday so that those that are joining today would connect. So for essay writing, there are some do's and don'ts. There are things you must avoid when you are taking on your essay writing. Part of the things you should avoid would be the use of informal expressions. The use of informal expressions and words. Rakib and Cordy, please, can you see the board?
Yes.
Alright. So when you are taking on your essay writing, some of the things you must avoid would include informal expressions as well as informal words. Now let's look at some of the informal expressions. Your informal expressions would include the use of slangs, the use of abbreviations, the use of acronyms, informal expressions. Now, when we talk about slangs, what does that mean? Yes. When we talk about using slangs in informal writing, what does it mean? Did you use a word to explain it?
I think that's how I know. I just know the slangs. I just know the slangs.
How can you explain slangs?
Non-English.
Can I still use the word informal?
Sure.
So they're like, it's almost like you want to use, should I say pigeon?
Pigeon.
I don't even know how to explain it.
Pigeon. Pigeon is a bird.
English language. Both Japanese and English.
Yes, but how do I like say it? This is the problem.
Slangs are like street language,
You know that are not in English language, right?
like street language.
Like,
What's up? Wait, I'll be waiting the park.
yeah, but how do you know? Like,
Pass is the slang.
Waiting is.
Waiting is English, is pidgin English. Pa
how do
is the
you
slang.
How do I explain?
Okay, it's like there's a little confusion here. Can you explain slangs?
They're like informal words that you use to communicate. To
Informal words. Thank you. Please, how can you explain slang or slangs?
They're like vernacular. Street.
Vernacular. We are going to another country. Can you explain slang, please?
Like street words.
Street words. Okay, Madam Kodi, could you please explain slang or slangs?
Well, I say like there are words that are not generally acceptable.
On what platform or in what situation? It might not be acceptable at your office. But when you get to the street, when you get home, it is the real thing.
Yes.
Right?
For example, yes. Maybe if you want to say wife, you call wifey or hobby.
Yeah.
Right? So at home, it is a formal word. At home. But when you come to a formal setting, an official setting, it is not. Is that correct?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Rocky, do you follow?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, slangs. Slangs are jargons. Informal jargons that are used to express one's idea in an unofficial and environment. right? So they are, yes, they are jargons used to express one's self or one's idea, oneself or one's idea in an unofficial setting. So examples of slangs would be what?
Popo.
Cuckoo.
Popo.
Huh?
Popo.
Cuckoo.
Police.
What's that?
Police.
Ah, what tribe?
Like general.
No.
Ekelebe.
Ekelebe in the east. The Igbos call it Ekelebe. Yes, that's why I'm asking you which region.
Olopa.
Or Lopa in Yoruba. That's for police, right?
Ask Daddy.
Right? So, yes, that's slang used to describe the place. What other slangs do we know? In IELTS and everything that you used to know will just leave you.
I'm telling you.
Right?
Since they will say everything.
Okay. There are also vernaculars. What are vernaculars? Who knows? Rocky, what does vernacular mean? Vernacular. Madam Court, what does it mean? Vernacular.
I don't understand it. I would say one's dialect that may not be understood by other people.
Very correct. So your language in a formal setting is vernacular. The use of an unfamiliar language in a formal setting or in a gathering is vernacular. You understand this?
But doesn't it depend on exactly where you are?
That's why I said in a
Because like
formal
in
gathering.
Chinese, speaking Chinese in their country is not vernacular.
It's their native language, it's their official language. The Chinese don't speak English.
Okay.
Their official language is Chinese. So whatever they speak as Chinese is straight, it's not vernacular. But we are all here, right? Including the people online. So our medium of communication should be what? English. So instead of speaking English and I begin to say bonjour tout le monde, je m'appelle monsieur Benedict, je viens d'État du monde, I'm speaking French, right? It is vernacular to me. Right? So it could also be an informal expression. Now let's look at abbreviations. Abbreviations mean, what does it mean?
Like using short word.
Using what?
Using short word.
Short words. Short word could be, is it TO2? That's a short word, right? Is that what you mean?
No, like forgotten. You should have forgotten. Then you will write FRGT
FRGT as
instead of writing it in full.
okay. So now you are explaining what I don't know, you are explaining better now than the other way. The other way you said it. If you just say using short word, that does not explain the abbreviation. Abbreviation simply means the practice of shortening words for faster expression. Right?
Expression.
The practice of shortening words for faster expression.
So instead of saying I will, I should say I'll come. Something like that.
That's not abbreviation.
Mm.
That's not abbreviation.
Okay, instead of saying week,
Don't.
instead of saying week, or maybe instead of writing week, I just write WKS.
Thank you. Instead of writing WEEKS,
Yeah.
abbreviation is WKS, right?
Instead of that,
Yeah.
Instead of writing THAT, you're writing DAT, right?
I write Dixie.
Aha. These are abbreviations people make use of. But there is something about abbreviation. If you are not careful, it becomes part of you. If you are not conscious of abbreviations, it will become a part of you that you won't even know when you're using it in your official examinations, in your official letters. You're writing using abbreviations. So please, you should avoid this guy. In essay writing, in report writing, in formal letters, in semi-formal letters, every word you're meant to write must be spelled in full. Please, do we understand this? Let's go to acronyms. What are acronyms?
The abbreviations.
Hmm?
The abbreviations.
Using the first letter of a sentence.
It's like informal expression. I just put IE. Right? I think acronyms are somewhat, I could say they are kind of abbreviations in a way. It's like, okay, so it's like, instead of me saying essay writing, I just put ES.
No.
Yeah, I think there are words that mean another word. I mean, they have meaning.
So can they be like abbreviations too?
No, they can't. They can't.
To shorten.
Instead of, I think, wood, is it should or wood? Yeah, I think there are words that mean
Okay.
other words. Wood.
Like when you form a word from
Letters or phrases that
the
mean
initial
something.
word.
Something
I'm hearing
else.
something from here. So please take that again.
Letters or phrases that mean something else.
Hey,
No, it's like from the original word.
Words that mean, that have other meanings.
No,
That's
No,
ambiguous word.
Isn't it an abbreviation of the initial word or from the initial letters?
You have the idea. You have the idea. Now it's coming out gradually.
yeah, like how you have like government parastatal, you see NIMC.
So
Yes.
what is
Shortening
Yes.
using the first letters.
Like having
of-
me.
what
Let's
is
say
an
me.
acronym? We've not answered the question.
Wood, instead of when
Using
you're meant
first
to
letter
write
of
wood,
No.
you now write
Wood
we.
to-
No.
Yeah.
That's not
Let's
it.
find out.
Don't Google, please.
Okay.
Just give me a moment.
Acronyms, they are like
Using words to
Yeah,
shorten
like-
the meaning of the title or
maybe letters that like how you have NIMC is an acronym for National Identity Management.
That part is
This
clear. Like you
IELTS
have
is
It's
NIL.
just now defining what an acronym means now. Like
Just a word.
Or like the initials. It's like taking the initials.
Okay, Mr.
It's
Rakib,
just
can you give us can you explain in your own words what acronyms are?
acronyms is more like using abbreviated words.
Abbreviated words. Noted. But that's not what acronym means. Madam Cordy, could you please explain acronyms?
You can only give the examples.
I don't need examples yet. We need definition. Define first.
Okay. Anyway, there are many examples I can cite. For example,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
National Identity Number, and so many others.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Acronyms are ideas or names formed from the first letter of original words.
I was close.
That's why I said you're very close. Acronyms are names or ideas or concepts formed using the first letter of the original words.
names or ideas.
Yes, formed by using the first letter of the original words. Those are acronyms. You look tired today. Now, examples of acronyms. We have the likes of what? WHO. What does that mean? World Health organization, right? We have the likes of ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States, right? We have the likes of IELTS, thank you, International English Language Testing System. We have the likes of NAFDAC, so many of them. Those are ideas coined from using the initials, the first letters of words. So please, for you to use acronym in your essay writing, you must have established the full meaning. Then in brackets, you bring in the acronym.
Okay.
So if like in the first paragraph, I put like the full name and then I put it in brackets. If I'm like, maybe in the second paragraph, I could just pick the acronym I use.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
That's why you must establish the full meaning first. So that to avoid repetitions, you can now be substituting or alternating with the acronym. Please. Now, I said one of the major things you must avoid when you are treating your essay is avoidance of informal expressions, and we have talked about that. Another major thing you must avoid is this guy. Repetitions. Repetitions. We know what it means now, right? Constant use of a particular thing in the same scenario. So you are repeating that same thing. Doing that will drop your points in IELTS. So you must try as much as possible to avoid repetitions. Okay. So I have written something. When I traveled to Abuja last weekend, I was impressed by what I saw. I can confidently say that Abuja is a beautiful city. As a matter of fact, Abuja seems to be the safest place to reside in Nigeria at the moment. What's the repetition there?
I and Abuja.
The repetition there, someone said I and Abuja. But I'm calling you, what's the repetition on the board? Abuja.
Also I.
Abuja and I.
Yes.
Madam, what's the repetition on the board?
Abuja.
Mr. Rakib, what's the repetition on the board?
It's the Abuja. Not Abuja.
Pardon?
Yes, Abuja. And I.
Hi.
For me, I'll say it's Abuja.
Huh?
Abuja.
Abuja is the only repetition. Abuja is the only repetition. There is no way you can change I. You can't. Now you want to use me. So Abuja is the only repeated word because there is an option. There's an alternative way of expressing Abuja, which would be what?
City.
Federal Capital Territory.
Again?
FCT.
No.
FCT.
Federal
Huh?
Territory.
Mr. Rakim,
No
you need to go and
FCT.
drink some water so that I can hear you are speaking like a big man. All right. You were correct initially when you said Federal Capital Territory, not FCT. Remember we talked about what?
Acronyms.
So you should establish the full meaning first before you now talk about FCT. So now how do you manage repetition in this situation? The first appearance is what? Abuja. Perfect. Second appearance will be what? Federal Capital Territory.
Capital Territory.
The third appearance can be what? FCT.
FCT.
There is no repetition. 4. When I traveled to Abuja last weekend, I was impressed by what I saw. I can confidently say that the Federal Capital Territory is a beautiful city. As a matter of fact, FCT seems to be the safest place to reside in Nigeria at the moment. there is, what you're trying to establish is there's a disconnect for someone who has never heard about Federal Capital Territory, right? So, figuring that the Federal Capital Territory means FCT, right? Well, for me, I wouldn't bother about that. I will not, for me. But just for the purpose of ease of understanding, there's what we call ease of understanding. You won't be there to explain anything. The examiner reads and finds it from the perspective you wrote from, right? So yes, you might just want to write Abuja in bracket, Federal Capital Territory. Do you understand that? So it's okay. But for me, I won't even bother. Okay. So this is the way to go. Once you have established the word in the first appearance, the second sentence, if you wish to express that same idea, please learn to substitute it with a synonym or another means of expressing it. Do you understand this? So it will help you to manage repetition. It's only in a situation where there is only one word, or that word is the only way to express itself. That's where you can flag. The examiner automatically would know that this word has no synonym. But if the word has a synonym or synonyms, please alternate. Alright? So it is also important to build your vocabulary. That's where this guy would come in. So when you are clear about these guys that you're meant to avoid during your essay writing, we've talked about slangs, we've talked about abbreviation, we've talked about acronyms, and then we just concluded on repetitions. Let's now look at how words can affect your essay. Now, words can affect your essay when you bring in informal words in your essay. What do you categorize essay to be? A formal writing or an informal writing? A formal writing. What do you categorize an informal letter to be? Formal writing or informal writing? Informal. Now, yes, informal letters are considered to be informal writings or write-ups. Now, what do you categorize semi-formal letters to be? Semi-formal letters. Do you know what a semi-formal letter is?
Yes.
Sorry, you're aware of a semi-formal letter? What does it mean?
For example, the director of NAFDAC is your dad, and you're writing a letter to him. You're writing the letter to him because you know him, and you're writing to his office.
God bless you. I'd like to meet your teacher. Your teacher did well. Alright. So that's a typical example of a semi-formal letter. But the example you gave, I won't accept that. It's not because it's the dad or the mom or parents. No. It's because you know the person you're writing to. Right? So you are according the official accolades to that person. So you identify the person by the marital status, either by way of Mr., Miss, Mrs., or the other Miss. And then you put the official name, first name. So you're writing, dear Mr. Ben or Benedict. It has to be in full anyway. Do you understand? That's semi-formal. Then, in semi-formal letters, please, you must write every word in full. Avoid these guys we are talking about as well. Do you understand? It's only in your informal letters that you are free to show yourself. In fact, IELTS says express yourself as though you are having the physical chat with the person. But no vernacular, no slangs. But you can bring in acronyms, you can bring in contractions, can't, won't, shouldn't. All of that can come in. Right?
Okay, that's for task one.
For if your task one is an informal letter, nobody will tell you that this is an informal letter.
Yeah.
It's not indicated. But the question, when you read the question, you will decipher the type of letter it is, and then you write it following the template of that letter, right?
Okay, so
In essay writing, we shouldn't use contractions as well.
Pardon?
We shouldn't use contractions in the
Essay
formal,
writing?
yes.
At all. We talked about that yesterday, right? We don't have to bring in contractions for anything in essay writing. Don't bring in contractions in formal letters. Don't bring in contractions in semi-formal letters. Right? So every word you write must be written in full, please. Then let's look at the words you must avoid. Informal words you must avoid. Alright, the first word right here is help. What does help mean?
To assist someone.
To assist someone, right? Help means to assist, which is very correct. In an essay task, do not use help. It is informal. You should rather use aid, support, assist. Do you understand? Let's look at these words. Mom, mom. They are what? Right? They are informal. Why are they informal? Because you have abbreviated the full spelling. Now, this is mom and mom. What do they mean?
Mother.
Mother, thank you. Is that the only meaning you can find there?
One with the UN means like keep it quiet as well.
Thank you. Keeping quiet. To be mom. Do you understand this? That means this guy is not just an informal word, but is also an ambiguous word. It has multiple meanings. So you must avoid that guy. Now, what else can you say about these spellings? Mom and mom. Is there any difference? O and U by appearance. But any other difference? Madam Cody, any difference between MOM and MUM? Apart from the fact that one means to be quiet. Mom and mom. You can't see any difference, right?
I can see the both again. I don't know if it is my network, but it's fluctuating.
Maybe it's your network. Yes, it is your network. So, MOM and MUM, there is a difference in origin. Origin. MOM is from what origin? America. MUM is from where? Do you understand the difference now? In IELTS, there is no discrimination. You're free to use either the British English or the American English. But you know, Nigeria, we like English and draw too much. You like to mix. French call it mélanger. You like to mix. They're not going to penalize you for any mixed approach. But it is more professional if you can stick to a particular origin. Do you understand? Now, the same thing applies. Mom is a short form of what? Mommy. Mom is a short form of what? Mommy. They are all informal expressions. What is the formal expression for all of that?
Mother.
Mother. Mother. Please, make use of that. Now let's look at this guy, kids. You see a lot of people say my kids, my kids, my kids. It's an informal word for humans. But it is a formal word for goats. Kids mean baby goat. Stop calling your child. That's why you wake up, you just be looking at your child, behaving like call them by the official, the formal name. Child, my children. Not my baby goat, my baby goat. So please avoid this guy. It is informal and it is also ambiguous. It is ambiguous because it is the formal word for baby goods, but the informal word for humans. Right? This guy, words. Mrs. Cody, can you see? Can you see the board? She's gonna. Okay. Now let's look at this word. It's pronounced as what? Words. Words. What does it mean?
Different sections in hospital.
Different sections in a hospital. Very correct. But some people use it to refer to children, right?
Yes.
My words in the school. That was my section in the local government.
Yes.
It could also mean part of the local government area, right?
Yeah.
You hear word 1, Garimba word 2, Garimba word 3. It could also mean a part in the prison,
Yeah.
the prison ward, right? So why do we have to use that? It's an informal word. It's ambiguous. It means a lot. So IELTS says avoid it. Don't use words that are quite ambiguous and words that are not even precise in the context you are trying to use them. So go for the official word, the formal word. Now let's look at this word, infant.
Infant.
Rakib, what does infant mean? What does infant mean, Rakib?
Like a young child.
Like a young child, eh?
A young child.
A young child is an infant. Infant Rakib. So you have something else?
The same thing, I think below 3 years.
It's an infant, eh? That's correct. Infant. Informal for children or for a child. But that's not a formal word for humans. It is a formal word for baby monkey. Yes. It's a formal word for baby ape. Also, yeah, go and check. So those are informal words, but we use them often. So please avoid them. Now let's look at this one. You will hear someone say, hey, praise God, oh, thank God for me. Oh, my wife just had an issue yesterday. My wife had a problem. Oh, my first issue was born in. That's the first problem you had.
I don't understand why people say that.
You don't use this to refer to human beings. We are not problems. We are not any challenge. Anyway, somehow. Right? So please avoid this guy. Issue does not in any way connote child or children or human. Then, lastly, we have like. Like. What does it mean? And when do you use it? When do you use the word like?
It's similar or something different.
Sir?
You can say like this, maybe that is to compare something. And you can say like to show your preference.
To show your preference.
Yes.
To show preference. To show preference is better to use for like preference. But when you want to compare, don't use like. Use such as. Do you understand? Use such as. Don't use like. I know some big guys in this country like. No, that's not very perfect English. I know a couple of big guys such as. Do you understand? Oh.
Can we get an example of what we could use instead of issue?
Issue. Okay, the rule of these.
Child.
Okay, but in a different context.
There is nothing to change. Children is children.
No, I mean like the word issue. in a different context, not relating to children.
Challenge.
Challenge.
And even the pronunciation itself is even problem. Do we pronounce as issue?
It's not issue.
Issue in Yoruba, is it not meat? Okay, I don't know what that is.
Yam.
What is meat? Eh?
Issue
Issue is yam. So don't use these guys, please. Go for the formal expressions. Okay. So having established the do's and don'ts, we went yesterday. We had to we understood the three things: linking words, sequencers, and idiomatic expressions. We talked about linking words to be words that are used to join or connect two or more independent ideas to become one, right? And we gave examples of linking words to be what? Whereas, more so, meanwhile, contrarily, while, however, right? So these are some of the examples we talked about yesterday. We also established situations where we can apply them. Yesterday I advised us, don't just know grammar. Know where and when to use them. Right? Contrarily is when there is a contrast, when you are trying to express something to oppose what you've established, right? When you are talking about whereas is also a contradicting linking word, right? Meanwhile is also a contradicting linking word, right? However, is a word that's elaborate further. Is that correct? So please always know when and where to apply them. Then we went further to, am I too fast? All right, please just snap from while I'm explaining, you'll be able to understand what by the time you start reading through. Then we talked about sequencers yesterday. We said sequencers are words or phrases that are used to either begin a sentence or a paragraph, and also introduce an additional point in a paragraph, right? For instance, when you want to start or begin a paragraph to talk about a particular topic or point or issue, you may choose to say first and foremost, right? First and foremost introduces the first idea you want to talk about in that paragraph. Then after exhausting that particular point, you want to also bring in more points in the same paragraph. You can simply use what? Furthermore. Alright? Or additionally in the same paragraph. Do you understand? Then when you want to go to another paragraph to talk about something contrary to what you talked about before, you can begin with what?
Furthermore.
No. A paragraph that you wish to use to contrast or contradict what you have said earlier. However, no. Contrarily. Use it to establish what you want to use to contradict the ideas talked about in the previous paragraph. Do you understand it?
Can also be a sequencer.
It can. It works as additionally or furthermore, but don't use it. IELTS says avoid any overly or commonly used words and expressions. Do you understand? Anybody, I have to tell you that anybody can say that, so that you're not showing us that you have in-depth knowledge of English. Okay, now those are words that can be used to express sequencers. We also talked about idiomatic expressions, where we made mention of expressions such as she kicked the bucket, right? Meaning she did what? She passed away. To pass away. We know she died. Let's talk about her past. She passed away. Is there a difference between Passing out, passing on, passing away.
Passing out is
Passing
out is like to faint.
To pass out means to faint. You just pass out. You're fainted. Huh? Huh?
Passed on is when someone dies.
To pass. To
Pass on.
pass on, not past.
Passed on is the person.
Wait, sorry, please.
All have passed.
Okay.
One of them is passed.
All right. So we've established that to pass away means to kick the bucket. To pass on means what?
To pass on means the person died.
It also means to die. It doesn't mean to give something to another person.
Okay. Oh,
No, I'm just asking. I don't
it
know.
means to pass on something to somebody.
Okay, it also means to.
Pass on.
Pass on to somebody else.
She passed on. She went to.
Please explain pass on to us.
Yes. You can see it in both ways. Counsel is actually an abuse to somebody.
Exactly, to pass the baton to another person, right? To pass the kingship. Then to pass on also means to
die.
Chicken. It means to die. What about to pass out?
Faint.
To faint. To it must not be to faint all the time.
It's still the same thing.
Faint and lose consciousness.
Huh?
Lose consciousness is the formal word. To faint is the formal
It must not be to faint all the time.
It
She's not going too far. To pass out.
word.
To pass out means to lose consciousness temporarily. Unless village people visit, then that temporarily could take you to the next level of coma.
Going to
That's
coma.
faint.
Huh?
It's still faint.
For example, if you are high,
Fainting has grade levels. There's a fainting experience you would have. Just cold water will resuscitate you, right? But there is this type of fainting that we call the senior level. That one they will use pin to puncture different parts of the body.
or oxygen.
Some people use fire to try to burn under the foot. Some people will now, that's the organ, right? What do you call it? Coma. That one will require
Oxygen.
artificial breathing aid, right? Okay, so those are some of the things you want to actually hold on to when you're writing your essay. Let's proceed to identifying the 4 yardsticks with which examiners mark your script. Okay, very quickly. These are the 4 yardsticks with which examiners mark your writing test. These yardsticks also apply during your speaking test. You will agree with me that when you had your mock test, especially during your reading and listening tests, when the audio was playing and you were listening attentively, the answer you got, if it's accurate, is the same answer he will get if it's also correct. Do you understand this? So this means that answers are fixed in listening tests. Is that correct? Because the same answer would fly for everyone who listens attentively. When you go for the reading test, when you read carefully and find the correct answer, if it is A, if he reads carefully too, he will get what? A. That means the answers are also fixed. Is that correct? So reading and listening test answers are fixed. Everyone gets the same answer if you are correct. But you see the writing test, a simple question that will be asked, the perspective from where you'll be viewing it, the angle you'll be looking at it from, your choice of words, your interpretation will all differ. But you are trying to arrive at the same. Do you understand? So, because of the discrepancies, because of the differences in understanding and translations and interpretations, examiners use these 4 yardsticks to evaluate whatever you have written. So let's look at the first one. We call that the task achievement. Task achievement, what does it mean? Your ability to completely respond to question or questions asked. Task achievement. Your ability to completely respond to the question or questions asked. Task achievement. Your ability to completely respond to the question or questions asked. So when a question demands that you list 4 points and you ended up listing 3, you lose mark. So please, always read instructions and ensure that you are following what you are supposed to do. Next is task cohesion and coherence. What does cohesion mean? Understanding. Understanding what is asked. Right? So examiners want to see your understanding of the question. Cohesion, understanding. Your ability to understand question or questions. Then task coherence, your ability to stick to the question while responding to it or to them.
Ability to
Stick to the question while responding to them. Ability to stick to questions while responding to them. Sticking to the instruction and the questions. Now, is it possible that you read a question and understand the question very well, but during your writing you would go off because of interpretation? Is it possible? You might read a question and understand it, but you would misinterpret the question. Is that correct? So if that happens, it simply means to the examiner you didn't what? Understand. Then automatically you are writing O. You are writing in the bala blue. That's what it means. Mr. Rocky, do you know about bala blue from that side? I said, do you know about the bala blue? The bulaba. Oh, you heard about it? He has gone global. He's a phenomenal president. Okay, now during your solution to questions, please, it is important to understand question before you begin to write. Do not put pressure on yourself by yourself. If you do not understand any question, there is 99.9% tendencies that whatever you have written is incorrect. Alright? So please take some 2 or 3 minutes to really digest the question. Ask yourself if you actually understood that question. If you understand it, it's easier. The brain would articulate your points. So what you have to do is to write very fast. Now, since it is possible to derail during your interpretation, I want to ask, is there a difference between deviation and digression? Rocky, Mrs. Kodzi, are you there?
Yes.
Please tell us, is there a difference between deviation and digression?
Don't explain no.
Okay. Rocky, please help us. Is there a difference between digression and deviation?
I don't understand. I don't know. Sure.
Alright. Please, what is the difference between digression, or is there a difference between digression and deviation?
There's a difference.
There is a difference? Please, teach us.
Let me try and explain.
Okay.
So, deviation. Okay, okay, so let me start with digression. I think to digress is you totally go off point or off topic. Or is that deviation? I know one is you totally go off point or off topic, right? While the other is so you could be talking about something, maybe you're looking at something from one point of view, and then you now decide to look at it from a different point of view, but you still come back to the same end point or the same result or something like that. I don't know which is which at this point now.
You have put us in a state of confusional conference. Thank you. All right. Is there a difference between digression and deviation? Please.
To deviate is to totally move away from the topic. Why to digress, which is to like borrow idea from another field and relate it to the topic.
Why did you come for IELTS training? What's your reason?
Because I want to learn.
You know it already. That's part. So to digress means to borrow an idea that still connotes or translates to the same thing you are talking about, but you are trying to buttress a lot more.
Like to expand.
Yes. But to deviate means to
Go off point.
your ability to cock a gun. Then you eat a lot of agado. That's deviation. You are moving away completely. Right? So deviation is a product. No. Deviation is a field for off point. It helps you to achieve OP very easily. You just shoot. Now, is there anyone you can apply when you are trying to stick to when you are explaining the point and you want to stick to it? Is there any of those two we just talked about that I can apply? You can digress. They don't deviate. Do you understand this? Now let's look at lexical resources. Lexical resources simply means vocabularies. Vocabularies. In IELTS, building lexical resources is the greatest achievement you make for yourself. Vocabularies. Building vocabularies is the greatest achievement you will make for yourself in preparation for IELTS tests. This is because during your speaking test, you must show off vocabularies. You must show off. Don't repeat. During your writing test, you must show off vocabularies in your sentence constructions. During your listening test, if you don't have vocabularies, you won't realize the words that people or audio is pronouncing. Therefore, spellings will be a problem. Do you understand this? When you are also reading, you will find words that will always be strange to you because you don't have good vocabulary. So you need it. Now, this vocabulary, these lexical resources we're talking about, shouldn't just be about vocabularies, it should also go as far as building synonyms. You have to build synonyms of words. Yes, please. So when you build synonyms, I said that sometime, I think on Friday, that when you build synonyms, you should ensure that you find out how to apply those synonyms both in the written English and the spoken English, because they are two different things. So when you have mastered the skills of using synonyms, it will be easier for you to flow. You'll agree with me that sometimes when I ask questions, you get confused. You don't know whether to actually speak because you don't know if I speak Alpagam right? But the real answers are just close to you. And also, when you are writing, you have configured your mind, you have fed the brain with the idea that, oh, this is exam, I should not fumble. And because of that, the brain becomes so tensed. In cars, we call it overheating. It becomes so tensed. So tensed that you won't be able to remember the common words that you use on a daily. We hear of someone who, while in the exam hall, asked the person sitting next to him, spell ISEC. Spell ISEC. Tension. He didn't even know he has spelled what he's asking for because of tension. So, if you begin to build the vocabularies, the synonyms, and you get to use them often and on, they'll be very close to you. When you need them, you'll find them. But if you don't practice them, when you need them, you'll go on vacation. When you leave the exam hall, they'll come back. It happens. So please, begin to work on that. Now, lastly, let's look at grammatical range and accuracy. Grammatical range and accuracy simply treats your sentence structure. What type of sentences do you construct? Remember, IELTS says avoid overly and commonly used words and expressions, right? So for your sentence constructions, you should avoid short sentences. Avoid them. Short sentences, avoid them. You are strongly advised to produce and construct more of compound and complex sentences. Please, build more of compound and complex sentences. Now, when you build compound and complex sentences, examiners are also looking to see how accurate your sentences are. You know, you can just blow a compound sentence, but the keywords that are meant to be in them, the keywords that are supposed to really help you to achieve the information or communication you're trying to pass, will be missing. Now, what are these keywords we're talking about? When you are expressing a compound or complex sentence that is trying to pass a message about something that has happened in the past, what type of tenses do you use? Past tenses. Now, yes, you might be informed that yes, I have to use past tenses. But you may also not realize that the past tenses I should use should also express or align with the subject of my sentence. For instance, if you are talking about more than one person in a sentence, do you use singular indicator? Is, was, plural, where, right? Are, where. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you must also factor all of that when you are constructing your sentences. I want to take you back to grammatical range. I talked about compound sentences. Mrs. Cody, or Cody, please, what does compound sentence mean? Rakib, please, what does compound sentence mean?
Compound sentence mean they have, like, maybe they have more or two words. Like, they have more or two words, sure.
Sha. We speak Sha in Canada. We use that. We'll drag you on Twitter. Okay.
They have more or two words.
Okay. You are trying to explain compound words, not compound sentence. There is a difference between compound words and compound. Maybe I should just go back to nursery, right? So that we'll build the understanding. What are compound words? Okay, I will not be asking you. Don't worry yourself. What are compound words? No I.
No idea.
Okay, no I.
Oh dear.
No dear, sir. What are compound words?
Complicated words.
At least he said something.
Compound words, complicated words. I'm going to talk about these two guys. Compound words. No idea. Compound words. Okay. He said, is it what you said? Alright. Now, compound words. Compound words are words formed by the combination of two independent words to become one. Huh? You know plenty examples.
I'm telling you.
Compound words are words formed by combining two independent words to become one. Let's look at how compound words are formed or can be formed. This guy, he feeds so much. Yes, he doesn't have anything on his back. What do you call him?
Feedback.
Feedback. Right? Now, for someone who is always indoor, reading a lot of laws, what do you call the person?
In-law.
In-law. One word. So these are some of the compound words. When you put them together, they stand as one word on their own. Please, do you understand? Those are examples of compound words. Now, look at this guy.
No. Please, can you repeat compound words? I was gone off.
Okay, I said compound words are those words that can be formed by combining two independent words to become one. Do you understand that?
Please explain.
Compound words are those words that can be formed by combining or joining two independent words to become one. Examples of compound words, we've given two examples right here on the board. We have feed, we have back. So when you put the two together, you would have feedback. So when you have in and law, it will become in-law. When you have is and land, it will become what? Huh?
Ireland.
Did I hear Island? Okay. So is and land will give you what? Island. The same thing goes. Let's see. There's still another one. Ice plus land. It will become what?
Iceland.
Iceland. Now, week and end will give you what? So these are examples of compound words. Do you understand? They are not really complicated, are they? No. Now, when we talk about complex words, they are words formed by joining two or more independent words to become one. Do you have any such example? Now, someone who is married and has children, a man who is married and has children is a what? A father, right?
Father.
And if that man is not someone who likes to go out all the time, he's always indoor, right? And then the child grows up and gets married. The man becomes what?
Father.
And when you put all of that together, you have what? Father Father-in-law. One word. One word. So, if you're writing this guy, this is what you're going to have. Father-in-law. One word. Okay.
Can you give me an example of a complex sentence?
You are still treating words. You are first. Okay. Now, a person who likes to give command to the family is a what? A commander-in-chief. Just a person who loves to give commands is a commander. When the person takes chief test, he becomes a chief, right? And the person goes in the whole process, he becomes commander-in-chief. One word. One word. Now, I want to give you a very quick test. Oh, I was going to talk about these guys. Okay, let me do that quickly, then we'll proceed. Turgid words. What are turgid words? Turgid words are high-sounding words. They are high-sounding words. Like he said, complicated, strong words. Turgid words.
High-sounding words.
High-sounding words. For instance, if I say higi haga, is that a word? Higi haga. If I say kring krum kran krum, is that a word?
Yes.
They don't know. Tell them.
Practical Bible.
They don't know. You don't know that kring krum kran krum is a word. You don't know that mobo klakum is a word. Those are high-sounding words. Do you understand me? High-sounding words. Do you know of one of our uncles from Edo State called Honorable Patrick?
Those are his common words.
Our brother from Edo State, Honorable Patrick, he cannot talk to you with the normal words you and I use. He uses multilingual words. Words that are borrowed from the French, the Spanish put together. So you hear words, you don't even know what it means. You're just looking at him, Oga, you don't. Do you understand? Those are turgid words. When I was in secondary school, we had these, I think in JSS 3 or SS1, when science was introduced, we got to know about, is it 21 elements
Of the periodic table.
First 20 elements.
of periodic table? I'm not a science student, my head could not take it. Now we learned about one word that everyone wanted to be boasting about. Tetraoxosulfuric acid. Spell it.
H2SO.
Eh?
H2SO.
No, that was even short. That's another one. That's another one. Something mono that people brag about. Those are turgid words. They are high-sounding words. Do you understand? But ambiguous word. In IELTS, when you are writing an essay or when you are communicating with an examiner, please avoid ambiguous words because you are giving the examiner the room to choose the meaning he or she wishes to use to make meaning in what you have said. So use words that are very precise in the context you are trying to express. For instance, I always use this guy. Very simple. What do you call this? What can I call him?
Sylvia.
Sylvia. Sylvia, please pronounce this word.
Present.
Present. Thank you. This word is very simple, very straightforward, right? But this word is highly ambiguous. Highly ambiguous. This word will take us to 3 different locations. So, Tilda, your birthday is coming up soon, right? So, as a class, we promise we shall be present at your birthday and will present a present. One word. Right? We shall be present at your birthday and we shall present a present. Meaning three different things. So when you use such words, maybe you are trying to pass a simple information or you are trying to pass simple communication and you choose to use present. Sorry. From the examiner, I've used present to interpret what you've written. Because you are giving me the room to look at other meanings. Right? So in IELTS, try to be as concise, as precise as possible. Be very direct with whatever idea or communication you want to pass. Now, I said I was going to test you. Please. Very quickly. I can test you with these three. On your notes. On your notes. This is Cody. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Rakib, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please write this down quickly, somewhere on your notes. Please write it down, or write them down rather. Are we done writing? Okay, now the test. Are we all done writing? Alright, perfect.
Hello?
Our test in 2 minutes. That's too much. Okay, let me still leave it. In 2 minutes, that's 120 seconds. Write the plural form of these words. The plural form of these words in 2 minutes. The plural form of each of the words. Our time starts now. Alright, our time is up. I saw some people very, very perfect. Very perfect. I'll begin with those online. Ladies first. It has to happen even in the learning environment. Normally, when we take them out. Mrs. Cody.
Yes.
Please, what did you write as the plural form of Inspector General?
Inspector Generals.
1. Number 2, father-in-law.
In-laws.
2. Number 3, commander-in-chief. Pardon me. What did you write as the plural form of the word commander-in-chief?
Commander-in-chief.
In
Chief.
commander-in-chief.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Rakib,
Sir?
let's get yours. What's your answer? What's the plural form for Inspector General?
Yeah, Inspector General.
The same way.
Yeah, no, not the same way. Inspector General.
Where do you have your S?
I didn't put Inspector General, I just write it together.
Okay, that's the plural form.
Yes.
1. What about father-in-law?
Yeah, the father-in-law together.
That's the plural form.
Yes.
Number 3, commander-in-chief.
Yes, commander-in-chief. I wrote it together.
Alhamdulillah. So let's begin. Thank you so much. I'll give us our answers at the end of the exercise.
Okay.
Please, let's hear. You pass this. When you're done, you give to the person behind you. Let's get your answer.
Inspector Generals, father-in-law, commander-in-chiefs, that's VES.
Inspector Generals.
VES.
Oh, here, chiefs. English. English is an idiot. All right.
Inspector General.
Pardon?
Inspector General.
Inspector Generals.
Father-in-laws.
Father-in-laws.
Commander-in-chief.
Commander-in-chief, no S anywhere.
No S.
Straight. Okay.
Okay. Inspector General.
Huh?
Inspector General. No S.
No S anywhere.
Father-in-laws. S.
Okay.
Then Commander-in-Chief. No S.
No
Just
S.
Chief. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Inspector General.
Inspector Generals,
Mm-hmm.
father-in-laws,
Father-in-laws.
commanders-in-chief.
Commanders-in-chief. Thank you. You got one.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
Inspector Generals,
Inspector Generals.
father-in-law,
Father-in-law.
commander-in-chief.
Commander-in-chief. That's a bit hot. Okay.
Inspectors General,
1,
fathers-in-law,
2,
commanders-in-chief.
3. Good God. No. Yes, please.
Inspector Generals,
Okay.
father-in-laws,
Okay.
commanders-in-chief.
1. Thank you very much, everyone, for this exercise. His answers accurate. Inspectors General. Inspectors General. Right? Fathers-in-law. Okay? Then commanders-in-chief. Sounds good, right?
That father-in-laws.
Fathers-in-law.
That means almost everybody makes that mistake with this father-in-laws thing.
Yeah.
So it has to be father.
Fathers-in-law.
And the same thing applies to mothers.
Mothers-in-law.
Sisters.
In-law.
Brothers.
Brothers-in-law. All my brothers-in-law. All my fathers-in-law. Not all my father-in-laws.
In-laws.
That's wrong. Alright?
And we speak like every.
That's why I said we blow grammar in this country.
My father-in-laws.
No,
I
you
feel
know, you said
ashamed to
plural.
find this out.
Because if maybe it's your father-in-law, maybe his brother, his so you won't so it's more than one person you are talking about. So if it's just your father-in-law, yeah, my father-in-law. But if it's like multiple.
So when you wanna say in-laws,
And
where
that's
does
because
the in-laws
that's
They
come
want to
because
speak
of them are
English
not
now. I want to put
fathers.
S.
So, where does it come? So in-laws is actually not correct.
In-laws is wrong. There's no such word as in-laws. All my in-law. Do you understand? So then you want to categorize them by level of relationship. Fathers-in-law, mothers-in-law, brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law. Mrs. Cody and Rakib, did you hear me? All right, so please, I decided to test us on this because it is a very common mistake. In fact, it has become part of our grammar. Right? So please, we need to correct some of these things for the purpose of IELTS. IELTS will help you to begin to think before you speak. Right? So you need to begin to calculate. You need to actually think before you speak. Don't just blow your normal grammar this time around. For those of us who are into public talk, public speech, public presentations, before you speak, you actually need to calculate what you want to say. Ensure that you are very precise in whatever context you're passing. We're coming to that. I'll tell you the origin. That's a very big background big men make in the public.
Which one?
When a man will stand up and tell you, all right, good morning, everybody. My name's Dr. Professor. That's the biggest background they make. Right? So, I will, when we get to that speaking test, I will tell you the origin of that expression and why people make that mistake. All right. So, these are the important things you should hold on to when you are taking on your writing test. Note that IELTS examiners are very particular about them. They are looking out for some of these errors. So, show them that you actually have in-depth knowledge of English. So let's go straight to formula for writing an essay. Okay, so we have the formula for writing an essay right there on the board. The first thing you want to understand is the basis of this formula. So the basis of this formula is P1, P2, P3, and P4. So by implication, this means that you are expected to have 4 paragraphs. 4 paragraphs in your essay. Now, these 4 paragraphs have their own constituents or components, which you are meant to factor in when you're writing or constructing each of them. Let's look at the 4 P's. The P1, which means paragraph 1, you are required to have 3 major components in your first paragraph. So the 3 things there should be paraphrase, thesis background statement, and stance. Paraphrase, thesis or background statement, and stance. Now your stance could be opinion, view, suggestion, merit, demerit, advantage, or disadvantage. It depends on the question. Question will determine if they want you to state the advantages or disadvantages. If you are meant to indicate the merits or demerits. Question will help you to understand if you are meant to cite or give your own opinion or suggestion or view on the situation that is being talked about. Now your paragraph 2, same as paragraph 3, you are to express topic sentence, that's TS, topic sentence. BP is body paragraph. Body paragraph. That is, you are giving detail of the topic idea you have raised. You are expatiating. Then after that, you bring in an instance, example, to portray your point. You can see that P2 and P3, we have an instance and we have an illustration. They both mean what? Example. I didn't choose to use example. I didn't even think of using EG. Those are informal words. Don't bring them in. Paragraph 4, you are meant to bring in or talk about your conclusion, and then lastly, stance. This stance must have been established in your paragraph 1, so you're bringing it down to paragraph 4. Please, do you understand this? Now, I'm going to give you the oral or verbal explanation of the steps to take during your essay writing, and that's what I'm going to end for today. If you're fast, you can take them down. Step 1. When you are giving your essay question and you are asked to begin, the first thing you must do is to read the question just once. You read once to identify the keywords in the question that you would substitute, you paraphrase, substitute with their synonyms. Taken? So first step, read the question once and identify the keywords that you can paraphrase. Step 2, write the synonyms of the identified words on top of them. Write the synonym of each of the identified words on top of each or on top of them. Then transfer the question, the paraphrased version of the question, transfer the paraphrased version of the question onto your answer sheet. Step 2. Transfer the paraphrased version of the question onto your answer sheet. as the beginning of your paragraph 1. Beginning. I didn't say that's the only thing for paragraph 1. Okay. Next step. Go back to the question and read it twice or thrice. Go back to the question and read it twice or thrice in order to have a proper understanding. In order to have a proper understanding. Once this is achieved, decide on the path. Decide on the path to take based on the question asked. Decide on the path to take. Based on the question asked. Next step. Draft out your points. Draft out the points you would like to use to support the path you have decided to take. Draft out at least 2 points. Draft out at least 2 points you would like to take. So you would like to use to support the path you have decided to take. Draft out at least 2 points. Draft out at least 2 points to support the path you have decided to take. Each point should have an example. Each point should have an example. Then, include a stance. That's the end of that particular step. But add this, NB, not before. NB, not before. This planning and drafting should be done on your question paper as rough work. This planning and drafting should be done on the question paper as rough work. Next step. Go back to your answer sheet and continue from where you stopped after the paraphrase. Go back to your answer sheet with a paraphrase. To make your thesis or background statement. Go back to your answer sheet and continue from where you stopped with a paraphrase to make your thesis or background statement. Taken? Mrs. Cordy, are you following? Mrs. Cordy, can you hear me? Rakib, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Note that your thesis/background statement should not end with a full stop, but a semicolon. Or rather, a semicolon. Your thesis/background statement should not end with a full stop, rather, a semicolon. Immediately after the semicolon, you are to include your stance, clearly written, and then a full stop to end the paragraph 1. Immediately after the semicolon, bring in your stance, clearly written, then a full stop to end your paragraph 1. Taken? Now the next step. At that point, you're done with your paragraph 1. I hope you understand. You can get that right. Your next step. Pick up the first point you drafted down on your question paper as rough work. That would constitute your topic sentence. The first point drafted out on your question paper as rough work. You know you wrote that while planning your essay, right? Pick up the first point you drafted down on your question paper as rough work. Pick it up to create the topic sentence for your paragraph 2. Now, once you have written the topic sentence as the beginning of your second paragraph, you need to expatiate on it, give detailed explanation of that idea you wrote. So that would constitute the body paragraph. Immediately after the body paragraph, you bring in the example you jotted down beside that point. And that will be the end of your paragraph 2. Are we following? Where are you, please? Okay, I'm going to take it again. I said pick up the first point you drafted down on your question paper as rough work, right? Write it on your answer sheet as your topic sentence for paragraph 2. After that, expatiate on it in detail to constitute the body paragraph. Then, include the example you attached beside it. And that is the end of your second paragraph. Please note, in brackets, note that while expatiating on your point, on the topic sentence, do not restrict your writing to spellings alone. While expatiating on the point as your body paragraph. Are you lost? While expatiating the point, the topic sentence, do not restrict your writing to spellings, words alone. Rather, learn to factor in figures, location, dates, which includes year and month, Quantity. This includes number of people or number of things or number of incidents. Factor in amount, budgets. And includes names of persons involved, key players. Did you all get this? Close your bracket, full stop. I want to explain this because it is very important. IELTS essay writing requires 3 things from you. 1, creativity. 2, spontaneity. And lastly, the correct spellings. Do you understand this? Now, your creativity is your spontaneity to begin with, is your ability to read a question that you never planned or thought of, and then you are able to interpret that question correctly. Then creativity is your ability to discuss that thing. You might never have had an experience about that beforehand. But creativity is you building story, building concepts, building information, building situations that relate to that particular question. IELTS is not concerned about how true and factual what you're writing is, but ensure that your write-up is fact-like. Do you know what that means? It appears factual, but it's not. That's what IELTS wants. So that is where your creativity comes in. So to show a fact-like essay, you need to give a name of a person that was involved, a key player. It could be a researcher, it could be a scientist, it could be a hero, it could be something, anyone. So you are strongly advised to write a name. It could be name of someone that never existed. Right? Create the name of a location. It could be an environment that doesn't exist. Create a year. It could be when you are not even born, right? Create number of people. Create percentage of persons or something, right? Create dates. So these things will make your essay to look factual. Do you understand? Don't just keep spelling and blowing grammar. They want figures. You should create that. These figures we are mentioning should not be spelled. You write them as figures. 80%. 20th August. Spell August. 1948. A famous researcher called Turakusha give a name. So you need to create a fact-like point or points. Now, next step. For paragraph 3, pick up the second point drafted down on your question paper as rough work and take the same steps. Yes, pick up the second point drafted down on your question paper as rough work and take the points, take the same points as in step dash above. I don't know the step you must have written before. Do you understand what this means? So when you pick the second point, do the same thing you did in the previous step, right? For paragraph 2 to achieve for paragraph 3. Is that clear? Madam, do you understand that? Madam, do you understand this? Rakim, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Mrs. Cody, can you hear me?
I was kind of lost.
You said what, please?
Please, can I get like I was kind of lost. I don't like which paragraph are you explaining now?
Please, what step? What's the step before this one we just read? Step 6, right? Did you get complete step 6, Rakim?
Yes, I have step 6.
What do you have in your step 6? Let's hear you, please.
Like pick the rough work to create a topic sentence from paragraph 2 and give details.
with example, right?
Yeah.
And then you are strongly advised to write your body paragraph, including figures, location, year, quantity, and all that, right?
Yeah, yes.
Alright, so for paragraph 3, which is step 7 now, right? So step 7, I just said, pick up the second point you drafted down on your question paper as rough work. So pick it up, write it on your answer sheets for your paragraph 3, right? Then take the same steps you took to achieve paragraph 2. Do you understand that? Rakib, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So when you pick up the second point, that would be for your paragraph 3, right? So to develop it, take the steps you took for body paragraph of paragraph 2. Then also include example. Of course, the example you're bringing in for paragraph 3 is totally different, or must be totally different from that of paragraph 2, right? Because there are 2 different points. Is that correct? Okay, so after that, paragraph 4, you are to conclude your essay. To conclude your essay, you can either use, there are 2 different ways to conclude your essay. So you can either say summarily, or you say conclusively, or in light of the above. So conclude your essay by choosing any of these templates and then bring down the opinion or the view or the suggestion or whatever you have opined, whatever you have written as your stance in paragraph 1, you then bring it down to your paragraph 4, but in a paraphrased manner. Don't copy and paste, rephrase it. Rocky, do you understand me?
Yes, I understand.
Mrs. Cody, are you there? Okay, so at this point, your essay should be ready. The last step. This is step 9, right?
Step 9.
Step 9, what we are going into. Step 9. Proofread your essay and make corrections where necessary. Proofread your essay and make corrections where necessary. Alright, so take these steps to achieve a very intentional essay. Take these steps to have a well-structured essay. Apply this formula and you are very sure of hitting the minimum requirements, minimum number of words. This formula guarantees you the chances of beating that particular requirement. Right? So that's the way to go for your essay. We shall break down the whole of this formula tomorrow. I'm going to take this formula one after another so you know how to put them together to have an excellent essay tomorrow by God's grace. Hope you'll be there. Alright, so thank you so much.